Today we are going over the highly coveted, highly requested Soulsborne ranking video. I've made plenty of Soulsborne ranking videos, but it's just been a bunch of useless ones like ranking the weapons, ranking the spells, stuff like that nobody really cares about. But for today, we're going to go rank the games. And we're going to take everything into account, all the important information that makes a game good. That's basically going to be the criteria. Now, when I talk about the Soulsborne games, I'm talking about just the relevant ones. So the ones that have come out within the last 10 years, like Elden Ring, Sekiro, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 1 that got released in 2018. So therefore, Dark Souls 2 is not going to make it to the list because it came out longer than 10 years ago, which does suck because Dark Souls 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, but like I can't put it onto the list. It just wouldn't make much sense. It's no longer relevant. And it's hardly even a Souls game as well. So like, can I really do it? Probably not. Now, honestly, this has been a video that I didn't really care to make. I've been avoiding it because I understand what the comment sections are going to be like in these videos. People are just way too toxic. And honestly, like ranking the games objectively is just corny. It just doesn't make sense. Because really, like, who cares? Everyone has their own personal preferences. You should just only care about your favorite one. Don't need to go onto the internet to start validating your opinions. Because honestly, there's no such thing as the best FromSoft game. And the proof of that is that people just like different games the best. Some people think Dark Souls 2 is the best. Some people think Bloodborne is the best. And that proves one of two things. One, they're delusional. And two, everyone has different preferences. So the only thing that you should really worry about is which one your favorite game is. Who cares about anybody else's opinion? Just focus on what you like. You don't need to go to these online spaces and start talking about why your favorite game is the best one and why other people should like your favorite game. Or worse yet, why you don't like a game and why other people shouldn't be allowed to like the game. Just shut up. Let's let people hate what they hate and let people like what they like. Or you're trying to convince people that they're always correct. Stupid. You're trash and your favorite game is fucking trash. So yes, if I'm so against ranking the Soulsborne games objectively, why am I actually making this video? Which that would be a very valid question. And honestly, I just felt like that something like spoke to me and made me really want to make a video. It was the money. Like it was money. I saw that this is a very popular topic and I can get a fat fucking bag off this video. So that's why we're doing it. Literally no other reason. I just want the money. Because like honestly, think about it. What's like more important? Standing up to your principles, having morals and ethics, taking pride in your work, or money? Seems pretty obvious to me. Now, I am taking a little bit on this intro, which I normally don't do. I like to just get right into the video. But being that we're selling out, who cares? We're just gonna prolong the intro, make sure that I reach that 8 or 10 minute mark. I'm not sure what the threshold is nowadays to maximize the bag, but whatever it is, we're gonna try and hit it. So I was gonna delay this intro just by a little bit. I'm not sure how long we've been talking for, but we might just extend it by another like 10 to 20 seconds, because why not? Just gonna throw some like random gameplay of like Destiny 2 in the background. Definitely one of my favorite Souls-like games. And honestly, I'll probably like delete this video after like the first 24 hours. I think now's about the time that we actually can get started with the video, right? Maybe? Yeah, I think now's a good time. Now to start off at the bottom, we have Elden Ring. This game was an absolute flop. I don't know what they were thinking. They spent 7 years making this game, and the best they could come up with was Elden Ring? Really? Let's break it down, shall we? So looking at the first word, Elden, this one has 5 characters in total. Looking at the second part of the title, the second word being a ring, this one having 4 characters in total, which does end up resulting in a 9 whole characters, which 9 characters does seem pretty high. But compared to all the other Soulsborne games that they definitely spent a lot less time making, they just ended up being much higher quality. How are you only going to have 9 characters in total after spending 7 years? Now, it still is going to be better than other Souls-like games like Fortnite and Among Us, but this is still going to make for one of the worst games made in the modern era. Now, next up, we have Bloodborne. Now, if this game was called Bloodborne 2, it would definitely be higher on the list, because as the way it stands right now, it only has 10 characters in the name. Looking at the first part of the name, it is Blood, which has 5 characters. The second part is Born, which is an additional 5 characters, which totals 10. Now, 10 characters does seem like a lot, but for a From Software game, it definitely isn't that high. If they did separate Blood and Born, it probably would have gotten higher in the list. I don't know why they didn't do that, because they did try to artificially increase the length of the name by adding an E at the end of it, which it doesn't make sense. Like Born is spelled B-O-R-N. I don't know where the E came from. It would have been more intelligent to like just put a space there instead and make it Bloodborne, which I would have counted that space as like an extra character, which probably doesn't make much sense. But if passwords do that, then I'm just going to do that as well. And then probably you could have put like, a hyphen there and it said like shadows die once or something. I don't know. Because if that was the title of the game, it would definitely go a lot higher on this list. Now, I know there is the Bloodborne Game of the Year edition, and obviously that has a lot of characters in its name. But that one is just a PlayStation exclusive, whereas Bloodborne obviously is on all platforms. And obviously nobody likes Microsoft, so why would I include a PlayStation exclusive? Next up, I want to talk about Dark Souls 3. Now, when you're looking at the words Dark Souls and 3, and you do the math, do some nice addition, you're going to notice that it's going to total to, wait, what is that? 5, 9, 10. Is that 10? It's going to total to 10 characters, which does make that tied up with Bloodborne. But the one thing that we're missing, the official title of the game, isn't Dark Souls 3. It's Dark Souls I. Don't know what the fuck that means, but the fact that they titled it this way means that it propels its total character limit above that of which is Bloodborne, therefore inherently making it the better game. Now next we have Demon's Souls. Now this game, released in 2020, did change things up from the previous games. However, they still could have done better. Now I know that actually was a pretty genius move to actually change the word from dark to demons, because demons actually does have more letters, but they could have changed up the word souls. There are plenty of other words in the dictionary that do have more than 5 letters. I can't really think of any at the top of my head, but they should have went in a different direction. They could have did it like they did with like Dark Souls 2 and start adding like a bunch of random letters at the end of it, like Demon Souls I, and that would have made it a lot better of a game. But the way that it stands right now, it's hard to justify it putting higher in the list. Now next, we're going to be talking about Sekiro. Now, you're going to look at this title and think, hold on, it only has like 7, 6, 5 characters, whatever. It doesn't have many letters in the name. However, Activision, in all of their genius, decided to add the slogan, Shadows Die Twice, to the actual title, of which extending the whole name itself. And this is just like further proof as to why Activision just makes better games than From Software. Activision definitely hard carried this game, because without them, this one would easily be at the bottom. I don't know what From Software was really doing in the studio when making this game, but the fact that the publisher just came in and within like maybe 10 seconds propelled it to being one of the best From Software games of all time. And think about it, if they didn't call it Shadows Die Twice, then you probably wouldn't have the Elden Ring DLC, because they titled the Elden Ring DLC what? Shadows of the Erdtree, which obviously is a direct inspiration, direct correlation to Shadows Die Twice. And being that Activision actually does hold that as a trademark, the word shadow, I'm willing to bet that Activision actually did play a big part in the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. In fact, they probably made it themselves from scratch, which I hope they did do, because honestly, I don't really trust From Software nowadays. So yeah, for that reason, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice definitely makes for one of the better games of all time. Now at number 2, we have Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin. Now, I hope and I wish that they end up making a sequel to Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin, because if they do, it would be called Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the Second Sin, and probably end up being the best game they've ever made. But as it stands right now, Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin is definitely going to be a really solid game. They did take a lot of inspiration from Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, it definitely feels that way, by adding in a bunch of random characters at the end, after that weird colon, semicolon, what the fuck is that thing again? I don't know what it is. But whatever that is, adding in more characters afterwards is definitely going to be the correct play, and hopefully we end up seeing more of this in later games. Although they did do a pretty decent job, there are some words of which are not that long, like the word of or the. You could have put in other types of words that are longer than these two, but overall they definitely did do a pretty solid job. And at number 1, we have Dark Souls 3, the Fire Fade Edition, Game of the Year Edition. Literally the greatest game ever made. The thickest, the most thick, wait, pause. It's a long, wait, the title is huge, wait. I would love to shove this, wait, hold up. Seeing something so long and, wait. Seeing something so long just makes me so happy, you don't understand. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. That one sounds good. But let's break down the genius of which is Dark Souls 3, the Fire Fades Edition, Game of the Year Edition. To start off with, it's a genius move to not actually call it Dark Souls 3, but to call it Dark Souls I. And the biggest play is adding in the same word twice. Having the Fire Fades Edition and then Game of the Year Edition is a 10 out of 10 play. I don't know why more games don't do this. Imagine how good Bloodborne would be if it was called Born. Think about it. And I think even more impressive than that, it actually, oh look, it's been 10 minutes. Nice. Okay, see you guys around. Bye.